everyone, my name is Cassie. I am the creator of Pieces of Scrap, and if you saw my own video last week, you know that I've been wanting to knock off some checkboxes on my to-do list for my crochet business, and I have a lot of projects that I've started and not really finished, and a couple of those projects are ones that are kind of daunting to me and seem kind of boring compared to other things that I want to work on. So this week, I am challenging myself to knock off all of those to-dos off of my crochet to-do list. To start off my to-do list, the first thing that I want to do is I want to make chair socks for each and every chair in my kitchen. I have 3 bar stools, I have 4 chairs around my dining table, and I also have a bench at my dining table. And only the chairs at my dining table have socks right now. And so I'm going to make all of those chairs have matching socks in red yarn, and it'll be acrylic yarn that I've been trying to get rid of for a while. Next on my to-do list, I have some market prepping to do. So I want to make 30 pairs of earrings for my next market. My next market is in mid-September. So I've got some time, but I want to get that taken care of because once my blanket yarn from Premier comes in, I want to devote a lot of time making more plushies that people will enjoy and purchase. And then the next thing on my to-do list is I want to make a pattern that I can release on my Instagram for free for people who are interested in patterns. And I think it will end up being an earring pattern this week because I don't really have a lot of time to do a lot more than just focus on these to-do list projects. And then the final thing that I want to get done this week is I have 2 or 3 Walmart bags full of tiny, like 2-inch by 2-inch granny squares. And I think I'm going to turn those into granny square bags that I can sell at my markets, and they will all be unlined. So that will save me a lot of time. So I'm going to try to get all of those to-dos done by the end of this week. Today is Tuesday, and I'm giving myself until Sunday to get all these to-dos done. So hopefully I can get them all done. Wish me luck. Alright, so let me show you what I'm working with my chairs. I've got these chairs, which are pretty simple looking, but on closer examination, these legs are more square, whereas these at the back, hello dogs, are rectangles. We've got the bench. The bench, all 4 legs are the same size, but we've got this problem over here, which is why I didn't make socks for it last time. I think these will have to have much shorter socks, but much wider socks, and they'll have to be square. And then for my bar stools have 4 symmetrical legs, but they are slanted in the back, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I'll probably have to work some decreases in there somehow. But square with a slant on the side. So yeah, so I have 4 different kinds of reds here. They're all different, and I'm hoping to use this because it's an acrylic yarn that I'm trying to get rid of. It's like some scratchy red heart yarn that would be good for this purpose. This is the second candidate that I may be thinking about. This one, I like this yarn a lot, and I think it would make like nice little rose flower earrings, so I'm hoping not to use this one. This one's more like shiny. It's a Karen yarn. I used to use the same yarn for like sweaters and stuff. It's really soft and pretty. I've got this yarn, which this is like a wool, and it's like a much thicker weight than these other 3. I think I made a rug with this one. I don't think this one's the one I'm gonna go with. And then I got this one, which is more of like a maroon color. There's more pink in this red than I would like. The rest of these reds are pretty good. This one is similar in color. This one's just more deeper maroon than this one. This is the Red Heart acrylic yarn. I think I'm gonna try to make them all with this one, and hopefully that is good enough. So I got my 2 different sized chair socks, and I'm just gonna write down how many rows and so on I think are there. Alright, so I've got this little chair sock here, and the old one, this one's more shaped like a rectangle just because it's been attached to the chair. So I'm just going to see if this fits. All right, so it fits, but it's not very snug. So I think I'm gonna add a row that decreases so that the top doesn't slip off as easy. Okay, so I finished this chair sock. I think I got the pattern down for it, so I fastened off. I don't have my needle down here, so I can't weave in the end of this, but this is the pattern that I'm gonna use for the rest of them, and I have them written down. So now I'm gonna work on these, which I think is really similar, except there's more increase rows. In this one, I only increased one row, and then I just single crocheted around until the top, and then I decreased I single crocheted 2 and then decreased 1 around. So this one, I think I will increase maybe 1 or 2 more rows. It depends. It just has to get this wide. And then I'll just single crochet until the top, and then I'll maybe decrease around here. We'll see. Okay, yeah. So if you are new to making patterns or making anything crochet and just don't understand how this works, so increase rows and around will keep it flat. So typically, the bigger your circle you want to get, the more the more spaced out your increases will be. So typically, if you do 7 crochets in a magic loop that like I'm doing, or any number of single crochets in a magic loop or whatever stitch, the next row 2 is always increase in every stitch, and then the row following that is increase every other stitch. So you just single crochet 1 and then increase single crochet in the next stitch, and so forth. You'll add 1 regular stitch without an increase each row until you get it to as big as you want, and then the second you start doing single crochets around without increases, the walls will start coming up like this. It'll start to look like a bowl. So that's what I'm doing here. And like I said, once I started single crocheting, it looks like a smaller circle than it was, which is what I want. And I will probably have to decrease once I get to the top, like I did with the other one, to make sure that they stay secure and that they're like a little tighter on the top so that they don't fall off really easy. So I'm going to single crochet around until it's the same height as these, because I want all of the socks to be the same height. Okay, so I've gotten up pretty far, but it seems kind of wide, so I'm gonna go ahead and try it on the chair and see if it is too wide or not. I don't want it to be gaping too much. Like, this one fit pretty snugly before I added the decrease rows on top so that it wouldn't slide, but this one seems like it might be a little too wide for the chair, so I'm gonna try it on. Okay, so it is a little too wide. It's almost a snug fit, but it's not what I want. So I'm going to unravel the last 4 rows that I did until I get back to that round of increases. And I'm going to space the increases farther apart so that there's not as many increases. So let's see, what row is the last increase? Is 3. Okay, so this row, I'm not going to do every other row. I will do, or every other stitch, I will do 2 single crochet and then an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's see, 2, 3, 2, 4, okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and there's not room for another increase, so I'm gonna do 17, 18, and no increase. So I will have 18 stitches instead of 21. That should help with the gaping. So I'm making notes to myself in here. So I think from my from my rectangle chair socks, it looks like I'll need 5 rows of single crochets, and then I decrease on the final row. So I'm on 1, 2, 3. So I need 2 more rows of single crochets around, and then I should be at the same height as the small rectangle socks. Okay, so I just finished my 8th round. So I'm gonna make sure that it fits before I do the decreases to see if I even need the decrease row. If I don't need the decrease row, I'll just do another round of single crochets. Yep, so it's a good fit. I just need that snug. So I'm gonna do those round of decreases. So I'm gonna do 2 single crochets and then a decrease all the way around. Okay, so it is good, but I am noticing that the squares are taller than the rectangles. So I am gonna unravel 2 rows, and then I'll put the decrease in the 8th row instead of the 9th row, because that way they will be the same height. And that should be the same height. Yep. So there are my 2 patterns for those done. Now I've got to do the bench, and the bench is a much wider square than these. So I'm gonna label this one large bench square. And we're gonna start off exactly the same, except I think I'll do 1 or 2 additional increase rows. So I have my first 3 rows written down, since they're gonna be the same as what originally I wrote for the last one. So we're gonna do a magic loop with 7 single crochets. So now I'm gonna hold this up to the bottom of the leg of the bench and see if this is wide enough before I start doing single crochets around with no increases. Yeah, I think that'll work. So now I'm gonna do my single crochets around, and I'm going to do not quite as high because of that little jut out piece on the bench legs. That's going to obstruct the way, so I am not going to try to crochet around that. I'm just going to stop before I get to that point. Okay, so that's what we have so far, and I'm not sure if that is tall enough or short enough. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the bottom and see if I need additional rows or not before I do a decrease. Okay, so it's actually a very, very snug fit, so it's not going to need a decrease. So I'm going to do another row of single crochets around, because if I was to decrease, it wouldn't be able to fit on the chair leg. Okay, so I thought I miscounted my rows, so I was just counting my rounds to make sure I was marking that I was on the right row, because I don't want to mess it up. So I added another row. I'm going to try it on again because I don't know if it is too short or not at this point. Okay, so at this point, I think I can add 2 more rows. I think I can add a row of single crochets around and then a decrease row so it fits snug, because now that I added this additional row, it's not as tight anymore. So I think I'll do that. So I'm done. I'm going to fasten off with a long strand in case I need to alter it, but I don't think it will. And I'm gonna try it on. All right, so it is right up against that little piece that juts out, so that's perfect. So next up is the bar stool, and I brought all 3 of my sizes to see how many increased rows I should start with. So this actually worked out pretty well because this is the square socks for the dining table chairs, not the bench. And it fits pretty well. I think it just needs another decrease row. So that's a very easy pattern. You can just do the same thing but add a decrease row to make these. So I have all my patterns. So I just wanted to share what I wrote down for y'all before I go up to my office and start cranking out all these chair socks. So first of all, I wrote down each row that I did, and if I had any edits, I went back later and I edited it. So I crossed out these 21 stitches and changed it to 18, as well as I added this 2 in here. So 2 single crochets, even though it should be single crochet 2. Because I know that some people's methods of notating how stitches are done are different. Some people, when they do this 2 single crochet, that means 2 in the same stitch, but really I mean 2 separate single crochets and then an increase. And then I notated how many, like I started row 4 and I knew that I was going to do single crochets in each stitch for a couple rows, so I made a dash so that I can add how many rows I did that till. And I kind of went through right here and notated as I did each row. Up here I didn't do that, I just said row 3, and I knew that these rows right here would be the same thing, so I just comma each here. And so if I was going to type out these patterns, I would know that I need to keep consistent wording for when I mean a certain thing. And then what I am going to do is I'm going to tally how many of each of these different socks I need right now. Hey y'all, so I've got all of my templates for chair socks in one that doesn't exist because I'm going to copy it off of the other one and do a decrease on a row. So I'm going to get cranking out on all of these chair socks. I need 8 of each of the parts for the dining chairs. I need 4 of the large squares for the bench seat, and then I need 12 of the bar stool socks, and I think they'll get done pretty quickly. I have 1 of each of the ones that is not a bar stool so far, so I'm going to crank out as many of these as I can. I'm gonna watch some Netflix while I do it, but I'll go ahead and do a time lapse so you guys can crochet with me if you want. Alright, so it's 10:41. I got some work that I had to do, or like right at 5 o'clock, so I had to postpone some of my crocheting for a bit, so I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. I wanted to get all of the chair socks done today, but really I got almost all of them done except for the bar stool ones. I haven't even started on the bar stool ones, so I have all 4 of these big guys done. Man, it's really a struggle to hold all of these up, but I'll do my best. These are all my chair socks that I have done, and you'll just have to take my word for it because I don't want to show you one by one. I'm sure that would be really boring since they all look basically exactly the same. So another thing is I ran out of this acrylic red heart yarn, so I started using this yarn, but you can't even really tell that they're a different color unless you look really close. They're really close in color, and the crappy thing is I'm gonna run out of this color too, so I'm gonna have to eat into some of that shiny Karen yarn that I didn't want to use. I wanted to save, so I'll have to use that for the bar stools, I think, so that they all match over there. At least it won't be as obvious since it's like a different location in the kitchen. So that's all I got done today. I'll finish up the socks tomorrow and hopefully start on earrings and the pattern. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good morning, y'all. It is Wednesday the 30th, and today I'm going to finish up my chair socks and hopefully start doing some earrings. And I just gotta get my Bible study done for this morning and then check on work, see if there's anything I need to be doing, and then I can get started. Alrighty, y'all, I'm trying to determine if this is gonna fit on the bar stool. Hi, Piper. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that on the bar stool now and see how it fits. I had to switch yarn again to the Karen yarn. I think I mentioned that last night before I signed off for the day. But that yarn has a slightly smaller weight. So I'm worried that it might be a little more snug than I intended it to be, but hopefully it works out for the better. Let's see how it looks. Yeah. So it looks like it fits snugly. I think I might need to do one more row of just single crochets. This is that same pattern as my square chair socks, with the decrease at row 8. So I'll add a row 9 with no decrease and see how it goes. How you doing today, Mr. Colt? Are you being a good boy today? Are you? Alright, let's make lunch. Yeah, so I've got this pesto that I made yesterday from the basil in my garden, and some pine nuts and olive oil, lemon juice, and what am I missing? Parmesan cheese. So I have this. It looks really solid right now because it was in the refrigerator because I made it last night. And I had we made some chicken mozzarella sliced tomato ciabatta sandwiches. So I just added some more pesto to them because some of this didn't have the pesto sauce on it. This is partially leftovers from last night and partially leftovers from pre-made chicken that I made for a salad that I'm trying to get rid of because I don't have any more lettuce. So added pesto to that. So I'll heat that up and then I'll put it on my 2 leftover ciabatta rolls with some sliced tomatoes and have that for lunch. So while my lunch finishes heating up, I just wanted to go over what my game plan is for this week because yesterday I started on one of the most daunting tasks on my list, and I'm also going to finish with one of the most daunting tasks on my list because I will have more time on the weekend to do that. So today I'm going to finish up all my chair socks. I have to weave in all the ends of the ones I've already finished, but I also have to make the rest of the bar stool chair socks now that I have the measurements right on it. And then once I finish that, I'm going to get started on finishing up some earrings or making an earring pattern to share on my Instagram for free. I'm not sure which one I'm going to start with yet. First, it'll really depend on how much work I have to do today. Both of those tasks are kind of small tasks because I've got about like half of the earrings that I want to get done for my next market done. I think I have like 13 or 14 earrings. I want to have 30 for my next market. So that is not a super hard ask to finish. However, I do have Bible study and my husband has worship team practice tonight. He's the drummer for our worship team at church. So I will have to sit through that after Bible study, and I think I'll bring something to work on. So maybe I'll have to figure out if earrings or something like that or something that I can bring to that. If not, I might push off my final chair socks and leave those for tonight to finish at worship practice, since That way I will only have to bring one ball of yarn. I can bring a bag to put all of my socks in and so on, or maybe that's when I weave in all my ends, who knows. But we only have one car, so we can't each take a car to Bible study and then me leave afterwards. I have to sit through all of worship practice, which is usually a couple hours. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update on my strategy for this week, completing all my to-dos on my challenge crochet to-do list. I did it. So now I'm gonna put them all on the chairs. I'm excited that they're all done. I've got 3 different yarns, but they look pretty similar, so I'm not really worried about it. So putting them on now. All right, so I finished chair socks. That's awesome. That being said, I feel like a lot of this video has already been taken up by all the chair socks, so I think I'm gonna have to split this video into a couple parts for each checkbox, let's say, or maybe I'll group some of the smaller tasks together. I think the granny squares will probably take up more of my time, so expect a longer video for that one, but that is at the end of the list for later on in this week. So look forward to the next video. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment about what you liked or what you didn't like so I can improve in the next video, and I look forward to seeing you guys again.